Have you ever felt invisible, even when you tried your best? Do you know what it feels like when people talk over you, as if your words don't matter? Have you ever stayed quiet, not because you had nothing to say, but because your voice was full of kindness, not noise? You're not weak for being quiet. You're not small for being humble. The truth is, some of the strongest people speak the least. If you've ever been the quiet one, the one who listens more than speaks, this story is for you. Because sometimes silence is not emptiness. It's power, waiting to be understood. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Ethan, 28 years old, who lived in a small mountain town called Willow Creek. He worked as a simple carpenter, building tables, doors, and chairs for the people in his village. Ethan was quiet. He spoke softly, walked slowly, and smiled gently. He loved his work and cared about details others never noticed: the smoothness of the wood, the balance of the legs, the way light fell on the grain. But people in Willow Creek didn't really notice Ethan. They noticed the loud ones, the men who talked big, who told stories in the market, who laughed the loudest at the tavern. While others earned respect with noise, Ethan's silence was mistaken for weakness. When a group needed a leader, they never chose him. When someone interrupted him, no one seemed to care. And yet, Ethan never argued. He only bowed his head and returned to his workshop, where the smell of fresh wood was his only friend. But deep inside, Ethan had a quiet dream, a dream to build something lasting, something that would remind people that gentleness is not weakness. Still, each day felt the same lonely bench, the same unnoticed work, the same quiet heart that no one seemed to see. People would say, "Ethan, he's nice, but he's not strong." And he would just nod, pretending it didn't hurt. But it did. He often sat by the river at sunset, watching the water move. And he whispered, "Why can't they see who I really am?" Little did he know, one meeting was about to change everything. One autumn morning, a traveler came to Willow Creek, an old man with silver hair and calm eyes. He carried a small wooden box carved with strange symbols. He stopped by Ethan's shop and asked softly, "Do you fix broken things?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, sir. I can try." The old man opened the box. Inside were 2 wooden seeds carved from ancient oak. "These," he said, "belong to my teacher. One is a seed of noise, the other a seed of silence." Ethan frowned. "Seeds of silence?" The old man smiled. "Yes, both can grow tall, but they grow in different soil. Tell me, young man, which one would you plant?" Ethan thought for a while. "I think silence. It feels peaceful." The old man nodded. "Then listen carefully. The seed of silence will grow only if you water it with patience. But beware, the world will laugh at you before it blooms." Ethan didn't understand, but he kept the wooden seed. Days passed. People mocked him again. "Ethan, why don't you speak up? You let everyone walk over you." He felt their words cut deep, but each night he would hold the wooden seed in his hand, feeling its smooth surface. He whispered, "Maybe one day you'll bloom." One afternoon, a storm hit the town. Lightning struck the old community hall, the place where everyone gathered. The roof was broken, walls cracked, and fear spread among the people. They needed someone to rebuild it. The mayor called out, "Who can repair this quickly?" Loud voices rose. Many promised big things, but none delivered. Ethan, quietly, began working. He didn't announce it. He just started, cutting, lifting, shaping wood through the cold nights. For weeks, people saw him working silently, alone. No boasting, no shouting, just steady hands and tired eyes. His heart was heavy, but he kept watering his invisible seed with patience, with effort, with quiet faith. Winter came. Snow covered the town. The broken hall stood like a scar in the center of Willow Creek. But one morning, as the first sunlight touched the mountains, people heard the sound of gentle hammering. They followed it and found Ethan still there, still working. His hands were red from the cold. His breath came out in white clouds, but his eyes were calm. A man shouted, "Ethan, you've been here all night." Ethan smiled softly. "It's almost done." And it was. The new hall stood taller than before, stronger, beautiful. Every piece of wood fit perfectly, like it belonged there. When the people stepped inside, they felt something. Peace. It was warm, simple, honest, like Ethan himself. For the first time, the whole village was silent. No one mocked. No one laughed. The mayor walked up to him. "Ethan, we didn't believe you could do it, but you did." Ethan bowed his head. "I just did what I knew best." That evening, as snow began to fall, the old traveler returned. He smiled at Ethan and said, "So, how is your seed?" Ethan looked down, confused. "I forgot to plant it. I've been too busy." The old man chuckled. You already did, my boy. Every act of quiet strength, every moment of patience, that was your watering." Ethan looked at his hands, rough, cracked, but steady. For the first time, he understood. Respect doesn't come from loud words. It comes from silent consistency. He said softly, "So, silence can speak?" The old man nodded. "And it speaks louder than you think." Weeks passed. People began visiting Ethan's workshop, not only for his woodwork, but for his calmness. Young men asked for advice. Old villagers brought him food. Children waved as he walked by. He had not changed his voice, but the world had begun to hear him. Because when you live with quiet strength, the world eventually listens. A year later, the hall became the heart of Willow Creek. People met there for gatherings, weddings, and festivals. On one wall, they placed a wooden sign carved by Ethan himself. It read, "Let your work be your voice." Every time someone entered, they saw those words, a reminder that respect is not demanded. It's earned, silently. Ethan's life changed, but not because he became louder. He simply became truer. The same man who was once ignored now taught others to listen. The same quiet hands that once trembled now guided apprentices. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Ethan sat again by the river, the same place where he once whispered his pain. The water moved gently, shining gold in the light. He smiled and said, "I understand now. Silence was never my weakness. It was my strength waiting to bloom." He took out the wooden seed, placed it by the riverbank, and whispered, "Grow, not in the soil, but in hearts that need peace." The next morning, the townspeople found a small wooden carving beside the river, shaped like a tree with strong roots. No one knew who placed it there, but everyone felt its message. From that day on, whenever someone felt unseen, they would say, "Be like Ethan, plant your seed of silence." Dear listener, maybe you too have been quiet all your life, Maybe people overlook you, thinking your silence means weakness. But remember this, every one of us carries two seeds inside, one of noise and one of silence. The noisy seed grows fast, but fades quickly. The silent seed takes time, but its roots last forever. If you want true respect, don't chase attention. Build it, show up, do your work with honesty, even when no one is watching. Because one day they will see your patience, your discipline, your calm power, and they will understand what silence really means. Start today. Water your silent seed with effort, not excuses. Because the longer you wait, the longer your forest of peace stays unplanted. You don't have to speak loudly to be heard. You just have to live loudly in your actions. If this story touched your heart, dear friend, take a moment to share it. There's someone out there, quiet, unseen, who needs to hear this message today. Like and subscribe to Quiet Wisdom Stories, where every week we share tales that speak softly but change deeply. Thank you for listening with your heart. Remember, silence is not empty. It's full of strength waiting to be understood. Until next time, keep growing quietly and the world will hear you. See you in the next story.